Let's talk about free agency. To use, I guess, an old school journalism phrase, to paraphrase it, follow the Zillow, right? I mean, is that how we now can track in advance? You nailed Kirk Cousins to Atlanta through that sort of thought process. Walk me through your reporting on that, Mike.
And, it's funny because, and I appreciate you mentioning it, Rich, if Kirk Cousins had stayed in Minnesota,
yes,
what we had reported last week would be no less accurate because we didn't report he was going to Atlanta. We reported that through, and you get all sorts of information when you operate a media outlet. And the question is, which frogs that you kiss turn into princes and which stones that you overturn have something under them that isn't a snake that's going to bite you in the ass. When you get that information, you vet it. You run it by people who know.
Yes.
So we get information gratuitously, and we vet the stuff that seems credible. Kirk Cousins and his wife, as of last week, were looking for schools for their children and a home for the family in the Atlanta area. That's all we reported. If he had stayed in Minnesota, it still would have been true. The fact that he's going to the Falcons naturally validates the report because, they had reason to be looking at those homes and or schools. So that's what we had, and I don't turn anything away just because it's coming from someone I don't know. If I can take that thing that you activate your instinct, your gut, the way this is being sent to me, the way this is being couched, the way this is being explained, it's at least worth my time to rub the lamp a little bit to see if there's something there. If you can confirm through credible channels that there's something there, that's when you have something. And, we got lucky. And again, if he had signed with Minnesota, everybody be dragging me this week saying we made it up last week because he didn't sign with the Falcons. So I got lucky that he signed with the Falcons.
Well, and it does appear that's the most significant free agent signing right now. And I'm not including teams re-signing players like, say, Chris Jones of the Chiefs. That's pretty damn significant. So would you put Cousins going to Atlanta the most significant free agent signing of the first 2 days of the negotiating window, Mike?
I think that's at number one because a lot of people didn't expect it. And I don't think the Vikings, whether they cared or didn't care, they didn't do an effective job of getting their fan base ready for what was coming. Because I think a lot of people expected they would find a way to keep Kirk Cousins around. But they had a number in mind. They weren't going to go above it. There were mixed signals coming from the organization. Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, said on PFT Live from the Scouting Combine 15 days ago, 100% unequivocally, he wants Kirk Cousins back. Well, somebody overruled him because they didn't do what they had to do to keep Kirk Cousins. So that's number one. I'd say number two is either, and look, from a fantasy football standpoint, Saquon Barkley going from the Giants to the Eagles, that's got a lot of sizzle. You throw in the Tiki Barber thing that might have been overblown by Saquon Barkley, but regardless, that becomes an intriguing signing. Christian Wilkins going from Miami to the Raiders is a big deal because he's a disruptive force. He's a guy who can F the play up, as Chris Sims likes to say, from the inside, making it easier for Max Crosby to create havoc on the outside. The Dolphins didn't even tag him. They could have tagged and traded him. They didn't do it. They didn't have the cap space to do it. That's a big deal. Brian Burns getting tagged and traded by the Panthers, a big deal. But yeah, Kirk Cousins was the one. For the guys who changed teams, Kirk Cousins, 6 years after he went to Minnesota, free agent again, unrestricted, unfettered, goes to Atlanta, and now we see how healthy he is, we see how effective he is, and we see what the Vikings do with their door number 2, door number 3, door number 4, door number whatever.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.